Over, Robert Mueller dropping a bombshell that will have Obama, Holder, and Lynch absolutely horrifying. It's going to keep them up at night. According to True Pundit, they're reporting that Bob Mueller's probe has now expanded into the 10 years of Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch in their official roles as U.S. Attorney General during Obama's 2 terms in the White House. And it's about time, friends. His team has requested a number of DOJ records and emails related to Holder and Lynch, including additional records linked to Obama and Valerie Jarrett, who served as Obama's senior advisor and controversial consigliere, according to federal law enforcement sources. Now, they state here that the revelations could indicate that Bob Mueller is looking at Obama and his Justice Department's role in attempts to secure FISA warrants to spy on the Trump campaign in 2015 and 2016. Or they state that Mueller is delving into the Uranium One debacle. They state even though Bob Mueller himself is implicated in the growing scandal. So if you ask me, this is very good news. This is a new development. They also report that officials did not confirm why exactly he was seeking those records specifically. But if you read between the lines, yes, well, there are many scandals at work here. And as noted previously, there are many areas of corruption during Obama's reign. With Obama's White House now in play, Bob Mueller could be playing a legal game of pin the tail on the scandal. And of course, with Holder involved, Mueller could be seeking records on a number of other scandals. And of course, Loretta Lynch, not far behind either. Bob Mueller could also be probing Obama's ties to Fusion GPS. That is where the Obama administration and the State Department approved 20% sale of uranium to the Russians. Yes, U.S. uranium. Isn't that a wonderful thing? No security problem there, right? So apparently how a research firm involved in setting up a meeting with a disgraced Russian lawyer, 3 members of Trump campaign, including the elder son, Donald Trump Jr., and recently indicted Paul Manafort. They continue that intelligence garnered from the British eavesdropping, which again was merely a front for the NSA, was then used in August of 2016 to secure a legitimate FISA warrant on Manafort, Trump Jr., and Jared Kushner. So this is a new development, a new expansion of the Bob Mueller probe with requests for documents from the DOJ regarding Holder, Lynch, and Obama. So,
Canadian and author and columnist Mark Stein joins us right now. We're talking about how he's celebrating Thanksgiving on Thursday.
Well, number one, you're filling in for Tucker tonight. We know that for sure.
That's
at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right. 8 o'clock, filling in for Tucker, and I'm going to insist on a cornucopia.
I know, right?
As good as that. I dig that cornucopia.
The goat horn.
Yeah. What's that?
That's why they call it a cornucopia, because this is the goat
I
horn
know.
right
It's cornu horn copiae of plenty. I'm going to do the whole of Tucker tonight in Latin.
Right, fantastic.
Ratings blockbuster.
Right. I know they used to do Catholic masses in Latin.
No. My poor old mum, she never felt quite the same about once they started.
When they changed it.
Really? Does anyone know Latin? Did your mom know Latin?
She raised me in Latin. It's English I have a problem with.
Oh, fantastic.
We want to talk to you about some news of the day. You've got this judge in California, the Northern District of California, liberal judge, given lots of money to the Democrats, including President Obama. He has blocked President Trump's executive order that was going to prevent sanctuary cities from getting some federal funding.
Yeah, and I think this is ridiculous, and I don't really understand why Americans put up with it. The idea that every rinky-dink little district court judge is a legislator. And I get sued more than I would like, so I find myself appearing before judges more than I would like.
What do you get sued for?
Oh, well, this and that, climate change and all kinds of things. And I don't generally have a high regard for the quality of judges. And the idea that every judge is a one-man legislature is absolutely repugnant to the principles of self-government. And it's nothing to do with constitutional principles. We now have judges who basically strike down highly specific pieces of legislation just because they're politically opposed.
By the way, this is to make illegal people not have a place to go because you snuck in here illegal. Yeah. This is no big leap to stretch the law. This is a black and white issue.
Yeah, no, and by the way, I may say, as someone who is a legal immigrant, and boy, I wouldn't make that mistake again, to this country, if you're a legal immigrant, you're obliged to have your green card on you at all times. Doesn't matter if you're flying to New York for a big-time morning TV show, or if you're strolling in your backyard, you can be pulled over, and it's for your children. Your children, in theory, in law, are meant to have their green cards with you when they go to kindergarten or first grade. And so this difference between one group of people who get to treat the laws with impunity and the others who are micro-regulated is not tenable in a free society.
Well, I tell you what, it does not sound as if the people who killed one Border Patrol agent over the weekend and seriously injured another were in this country legally, because what we've heard so far is that is Officer Martinez. He was killed. He was a father. He was a brother. Apparently, he died of blunt force trauma. Apparently, they were tracking some trail with footprints, and somebody apparently ambushed him, and they feel that they just took a great big rock and broke the guy's head.
And this is actually, I mean, this is a terrible tragedy, but it is also why we need the wall. We're often told, you know, you can do it with sensors. These guys, the sensors picked up something and they went to investigate. They couldn't secure the crime scene. These guys got away. The fellas who did this. We may never catch them. And the reality is that you actually do need to... if you go south of, say, Tucson, Arizona, there are signs on the highway saying, proceed further at your own peril. In other words, the writ of the United States government, the most powerful government on the planet, does not run on its own territory.
It's unbelievable.
You know, well, don't you feel like the liberals are saying, you hear when all these Democrats are running for office, they're saying this president or Republicans want to separate families? No, it is about getting the criminals out. Kate Steinle's guy was deported 5 times, the guy who killed her. This other child, we interviewed his mom, was hit by a drunk driver who'd been deported 15 times.
But it's this, again, it's this stupid sentimentalization. Obviously, you know, immigrants are like any body of people. They include all kinds of characters. But again, it's the difference between people who get to break the law and people who are micromanaged. On the southern border, you can walk in, you can kill U.S. government officials, you can run drugs, you can terrorize people. On the northern border, if you're a bagpiper in Montreal who wants to play in a bagpipe competition in New Hampshire or Vermont, they will see, the U.S. Department of Agriculture will seize your bagpipe at the border. So if we issued a bagpipe to everyone south of the Rio Grande, we would have no problems with drugs, terrorism, anything. Because bagpipes, they can get.
It's hard to imagine the bagpipes really catching on in Central and South America, but that's just me.
And you've never heard a bagpipe mariachi band?
Not enough.
Perfect. Put one for Thanksgiving.
I had it on my turntable, but my turntable doesn't work anymore. I need a new needle. Now let's talk about the other controversy, and that the president has brought LeVar Ball out of the sports world into the general public. This is one of the most bizarre people you're ever going to meet. Did a great job raising his 3 kids, but he is absolutely bizarro land. The president did not get a thank you from him, and he tweeted out that maybe I should have just left the kids there. So LeVar Ball hopped on television to try to explain why he wasn't thanking the president for getting his son out of China after he shoplifted. Try to make sense of this.
How do you know it? How do you know it wasn't involved before I even knew that? I mean, he didn't even know they was over there and like that. Okay, what was the reason for him going over there in the first place? What I'm trying to say is,
what are you trying to say?
It wasn't like he was in the U.S. and said, okay, there's 3 kids in China, I need to go over there and get them. That wasn't the thought process.
All right,
what we're talking about right now is a lot of stuff about my son just because his last name is Ball. We're not even talking about the other 2 kids. I don't have no doubts about what he did. I got doubts of what he didn't do. How's that? I would say thank you if he would have put him on his plane and took him home. Then I would have said, thank you, Mr. Trump, for taking my boys out of China and bringing them back to the U.S. There's a lot of room on that plane. I would have said thank you kindly for that.
The problem was the president wasn't going right home. He had to go to the Philippines and
Yeah,
Vietnam.
yeah. So why didn't he take 3 shoplifters on a tour of Asia with him? You know, the first thing they tell you when they give you a passport is that when you're in a foreign jurisdiction, you're subject to the laws of that jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So if you're a Canadian bagpiper and they take you to Gitmo, then tough. And the idea that this boorish ingrate. 3 petty criminals, which in China, that can ruin your life.
10 years.
Yeah, and the idea that somehow he didn't no, he should have taken them on an Air Force One. They should have been riding up front with
I'm not sure
them.
he's not playing us.
But
I actually think it might have been an act last night. It was so bizarre.
Well, it might be Twitter trolling. But, but the thing is, Brian, and I know this kind of gets close to your turf, it comes at a time when professional sports is not held in high esteem by the American people. Because to be quaint and old-fashioned about it, these guys who are handsomely remunerated no longer seem to represent the sporting virtues. And that guy's a good example of it.
You know what? His son, though, did apologize to the President of the United States and thanked him as well.
Yeah. That's
Right,
true.
and it just got, by the way, this guy, Wendell Brown, he got in a bar fight in China.
Yeah.
He's been in jail for 13 months. He can't even get a day in court.
No.
That easily could have happened to these kids.
No, they're serious about that. They're serious about that stuff there. You do something that you can do in a sanctuary city or whatever, and it doesn't matter. You do it elsewhere on the planet, your life's wrecked.
Isn't this guy really controversial, though? I mean, people, wasn't the NCAA all over him because they were selling their tennis shoes for like $700?
Right. Yeah.
Why the kid had to shoplift, I don't know. But he made a mistake. He apologized. The president said, I hope you have a great life. And then the dad does this.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They are, in the end, they are shoplifters. They are shoplifters.
They made a mistake. My hope is the president doesn't go back at LeVar Ball. I want him to go away.
Right,
Please.
right.
Please, Mr. President, don't tweet back. I don't want to talk about this tomorrow.
The president is going to tweet when the president wants to tweet.
I'm getting that idea.
Just get used to it, Brian. That's what he does.
You're influential, but you're not that influential.
There you go.
Sorry, Brian.
All right, anything else? LeVar Ball.
You can't shut off his Twitter feed. You can do everything else. He's watching, but he's scoffing at you for that,
The president
Brian.
might say, I'm going to listen to Brian Tillman. I'm not tweeting about it.
Don't raise expectations of superpowers you don't have. You can't. You're not the
Brian Tillman is telling the
D-tweeter.
president what to do.
I'm just begging him. I don't want to talk about LeVar Ball tomorrow.
Mark Stein, we're going to be watching you with your bagpipe tonight.
And my cornucopia. The only show with bagpipes and cornucopia.
Yeah, take that, Laura Ingraham.